dog ear your pages, however you want to do it. You've got multiple options to help you remember what that is. Or you can ask me, because I'm right here. So we're going to start on page 1. I don't know, seemed like a good idea.
Good place to start.
All right, so we're going to start with some of the spring important dates. And some of these have happened. Sign-ups already began on January 6th. And the information table, the growth group information sign-up table will be out in the entryway, and you guys will be manning that and getting people to sign up and talking to them every Sunday in January. So through the 27th, so through a week from Sunday. So do mill around there and be ready to answer questions if someone wants to know, like, well, where is your group meeting specifically? Or, you know, is your group still open? Or, you know, and invite them to join your group or help them find a group that'll work for them. Then the week of February 3rd, the spring growth groups begin. Then we have growth group huddles, which I will explain in detail in a little bit. But those are 2 important dates to remember. Required for growth group leaders, strongly recommended for growth group co-leaders. They're brief meetings. Again, I'll talk about them a little bit more, but those are already scheduled for February 17th and March 17th, Sundays right after service. So we've already got those dates. Notice they're both on the 17th, so it's easier to remember. And then March 31st, that Sunday is Easter Sunday, which won't impact most growth groups except the ones that are meeting on Sundays. So you'll want to make note of that one. You'll have a little 1 week less for your meetings to occur. Then the week, excuse me, of April 21st is the last week that growth groups meet. We suggest that's your party week. You know, you just hang out and enjoy being together for that last week of that group. Yes?
March 17th, right after church, we have a Nicaragua meeting.
We'll figure that out then.
Okay.
See who that impacts.
We can do both.
I mean, I can do 2 meetings at a time because I'm not.
The huddle one really lasts about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's very short.
Okay.
So, okay. And then May 18th is the growth group leaders training for the summer groups. We already have that on the calendar. And the week of June 2nd is when the summer growth groups begin. Summer groups will, at least for this first time, are only going to be 8-week groups. So they won't meet in August. Okay, so why are growth groups important? Well, Greenwood Christian Church exists to love God, love others, and serve the world. Growth groups actually meets all of those goals in what they do. They have an upward focus, which is loving God, because of the Bible study and the focusing on how to apply that into our lives. So loving God goes in your blank there. They have an inward focus, which is loving others. That goes in your blank there. Because you take time to pray together, to get to know one another, to share your lives a little bit with each other. So that's the inward focus, the loving others. Then the outward focus, which is serving the world, goes in that blank. And that's an opportunity which we will, again, talk about in more detail, the opportunity to do outreach together as a group. And then a forward focus, which is raising up new leaders. And that's one of the things that we ask you in growth groups to do, is look for people who have the potential to lead, co-lead, giving the opportunity for co-leaders to maybe lead once in a while to see if that's something that they feel God's equipped them to do. So those 4 are the focus of growth groups and how they apply to who we are. Chuck, can Michelle cheat off you, please, since she has to come in and out? So, Acts 2, 46 and 47 said they worshiped together at the temple each day, met at homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their group those who were being saved. All right, page 2. So what are growth group responsibilities? What does your growth group do? And most of this you already know. Hopefully all of it, to some extent at least. You meet together once a week.
Yep.
Then you serve together on a few Sunday mornings. That's the hospitality ministry, which we'll share in more detail a little bit later. You reach out together once a session outside the church building in place of a regular meeting. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more detail. And you play together once once a session in place of a regular meeting. Now the reaching out and the playing together don't have to be in place of a regular meeting. If you still want to go ahead and meet that week, because you're going to do your outreach or your playtime on a different day, that's perfectly fine. But you have the option, if it's like, well, we're going to do it on our meeting week, you don't have to extend your meetings another week. Or if you're going to, if it's going to be some big event, it's like, well, let's just not meet this week because we're doing that. That's perfectly fine.